just went live, just to that we have everything on YouTube done as well and Discord. Okay, shall we start? I would say. Just to give everyone an overview, first of all, thank you for being here. We hope to our first Web3 security workshop. Depending on the engagement and the interest, it might be around 3 to 4 hours, something around that. And we will talk about from smart contracts to wallet security, even scratch on the surface for bridges and everything, based on the answers you gave us on the type form, basically what you are specifically interested in. And yeah, we are supported today by Daniel, who is, I think, the managing partner of Decentrale, or otherwise, feel free to correct me, please. And yeah, basically, he's doing a lot of workshops himself. He's supporting a lot of clients in that area. And yeah, if you have any questions in that regard, feel free to reach out to him. I will put all his links into the video description. And yeah, maybe you want to introduce yourself as well, Daniel, because you will basically, as you know, start the workshop with wallet security, and then Chris and myself will also shortly briefly introduce ourselves.
And yeah, maybe you want to introduce yourself as well, Daniel, because you will basically, as you know, start the workshop with wallet security, and then Chris and myself will also shortly briefly introduce ourselves.
So yeah, hi and welcome to this workshop. My name is Daniel. I live in the eastern part of Austria, close to the Hungarian border. I own the Decentrale.at, where I help companies, artists by their Web3 strategy. So as they like to enter the Web3, I can give them some hints and tricks how to do that. And on the other hand, I do educational stuff like this now, in a relatively broad context. That can be NFTs, of course, that can be virtual worlds, that can also be DeFi and stuff like that. And Kevin and Chris invited me to show you some absolute basics where you can lift your security level 1 to 2 stages up. And I would say I start with the absolute basics on the wallets. Okay, so if you are in the NFT space, usually you will use the MetaMask wallet. And did any of you have a MetaMask wallet? Are you kind of familiar with it, how it works? Or should I really go into the absolute basics? Maybe you can put it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. For my information as well.
In the beginning,
I would appreciate basics. Just download it. Yeah. Okay.
So
first person is writing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. For my information as well. Oh, I would appreciate basics. Just download it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I will do a quick introduction where if you download your MetaMask wallet, it's almost the same on every wallet. You download it either on your desktop or on your mobile phone. Me personally, I'm usually not use the mobile. It's for me too difficult and too old. I can't see it. That's it. Then you will be asked to write down 12 words. Okay, this is your seed phrase. And please do not copy paste these words, or do not print them out at least over wireless LAN. Take a piece of paper, take a pen, and write them down. Okay, because as soon as you copy paste them or send them to your printer, and your PC or your laptop is infected by a virus, it can be that someone can steal this data, and with these 12 words, he will have access to your wallet. Okay, so please don't do stuff like this, like copy paste, or in the worst case, make a copy in a cloud service or whatever. Use MetaMask, is that right? Should be, okay? Then you go on this colorful point up there, go on settings, security and privacy, and then you see this message, reveal secret recovery phrase, okay? So that means if you don't have secured your MetaMask wallet, or you have lost your recovery seed phrase, but you have still access to your wallet, you can take the recovery phrase out of your wallet, okay? And then please write it down. As I said, take a piece of paper and a pen. So that's the first thing about security and privacy in MetaMask. And be sure it's important that you have these seed phrases, okay? If you have this seed phrase and you know no one other have this seed phrase, you are safe, okay? I can show you a nice little email that I received some days ago. Wait a minute, I have to put it right here on this monitor. As you can see, attention, the pressure on blockchain tech, blah, blah, blah. Underline, my MetaMask wallet isn't safe. I receive such emails every week, 1, 2, or 3. That's all bullshit, okay? If you have your seed phrase, you are safe. In the absolutely worst case, if the application MetaMask have any troubles in whatever form it will be, you can use your seed phrase and import maybe a MyEther wallet, okay? The MetaMask wallet is only the gate to the blockchain. And if you use MetaMask, MyEther wallet, or which wallet you prefer, it doesn't matter. These are only gateway to access the blockchain. That means if you have your seed phrase, you can use that seed phrase and open other application. For instance, MyEther wallet, and you have full access to your funds, okay? So if you have your seed phrase, you have no problem. And if no one other has your seed phrase, that's maybe the most important part, you have really no trouble and can access your funds whenever you like. Now, there is sometimes it could be that you have the feeling something is weak or whatever, or maybe you have some, you were attacked on your computer and you have seen this. Then I would recommend delete your MetaMask wallet, delete it completely, load a new one down, and recover your MetaMask with your seed phrase, because that's the only way you can change the password, okay? So you have to delete the MetaMask and set a new one up, and then give them a new password, and then usually you should be safe again. Okay, but sometimes it can happen when your computer is infected that your password is at risk. Okay, and then, as I said, the easiest way, delete it, load it new down, and import with your seed phrase, give a new password, and you are done. Okay, so as you can see, it's absolutely no problem, at least, and that's it. And as I said, if you have your seed phrase, you're safe. So now I want to go a little bit further, and that's it, to connect a hardware wallet. Okay, if you have some valuable NFTs, I don't know, maybe apes or the mutants or punks or whatever, I would recommend to connect. I hope you can see this. Can you see this? This is, I use Trezor. This is a Trezor Model T. I use this one because it has a nice touch screen. There are other like Ledger and others, but they are too small for me. Okay, these little switches, I'm too old for that stuff. However, use a hardware wallet, or consider to use a hardware wallet for your valuable NFTs. Okay, that gives you an extra strong layer of security. And that brings us to the next topic. If you trade, buy, mint NFTs, please use at least 2 separate wallets. Okay, you have one wallet, they call it the burner wallet or the mint wallet. With this wallet, there is only that much ether in it that you need to mint an NFT or to buy an NFT, and that's it. Okay, we have seen that in the last year, where the free mints are coming up, that many of them were scams. So that means if you interact with this NFT in the minting process, in the worst case, it's drained your wallet. So that means your wallet afterwards was empty. Okay, and if you use a wallet that is at least empty, except the amount of Ethereum you need to mint or buy, okay, you will lose this amount, of course, but that's it. After you have minted with that wallet, you send it to your second wallet, and that is the wallet where you store your NFTs. Okay, and ideally, this wallet is connected to a hardware wallet, like I said, a Trezor, a Ledger, a whatever. Because, as I said, that gives you extra layer of security. So in my case, I can shortly show you how to connect such a MetaMask wallet, hardware wallet, to MetaMask. Again, you go on this colorful dot, then connect hardware wallet, and then MetaMask will ask you if it's a Ledger, a Trezor, or a Lattice. Then you click on the wallet you like to use, or you have, go to continue, and then you can choose which Ethereum wallet that's included in my example, in my Trezor, and then you can import this Ethereum address into your MetaMask. Okay, so that means also that if you do a transaction, I can show you, I have here some, there is this This one is secured by my Trezor. So that means if you interact with this wallet, you buy, sell, send, whatever you do, you have to sign over your hardware wallet. Okay, that means only the owner of the hardware wallet can sign transaction and interact, means buy NFTs, sell NFTs, or whatever. So as I said, that gives you an extra layer of security. And now it could be that you own NFTs that you connect to a website or whatever. In my case, it's NanoPass. That's an NFT project that I own 2 years, I think, something like that. And the owner of NanoPasses can connect to the NanoPass website once a week and claim goodies. This can be Frax, that's a kind of cryptocurrency that is used in this NanoPass space, or that can be a whitelist for a mint, or even can be an NFT that you win if you use a NanoPass. If you have such NFTs, please use 3 wallets for your NFTs. The first one is the burner wallet, of course, where you mint, buy, and sell your NFTs. The second one is the wallet that you will connect to other websites. And the third wallet is the vault, okay? In this vault, there are only NFTs, the valuable ones, of course, and NFTs that you don't have to connect on a regular basis to external websites, okay? So that brings up your level of security again, a huge step, okay? So that means you have at least 2 wallets, 1 burner and 1 for the collection. And if you have to connect your wallet to external websites, please use 3. Me personally, I have only my burner wallet that is not protected by my hardware wallet. All other wallets are protected by my hardware wallet. Okay, it's for safety reasons, and I got scammed, and since then I use the hardware wallet. Now we go to the next topic, and this will be labeling. Maybe you recognize that if you open your MetaMask and enter, if you go to send and enter whatever address where you want to send from funds to, there is a message that pops up and tells you MetaMask recognized a new address. Would you like to label it? Something like this. Use this feature, okay? And use it first of all if you have addresses on your exchanges where you send funds from your MetaMask or where you receive funds from your MetaMask. It's much easier for you if you can read words, okay? So I can show you that. This maybe is the address from Cake DeFi, that's a DeFi platform. And this address is the Ethereum address where I send Ethereum on Cake DeFi, okay? So that means whenever I interact with this address, MetaMask shows me the clear plain text. So I don't have to control this address out there. I can read it. It's Cake DeFi. So I know I'm on the right address. Okay. So that makes things much easier. And the same thing works with NFTs. And I like to show you how you can add NFT smart contract addresses to your MetaMask. Okay, so we go on to OpenSea and we take whatever, click on that NFT. That's, by the way, a non-existent project anymore. That's gone. You click on the NFT, scroll down to, in German, it's Einzelheiten. In English, I think it's written with details. Click on it. Then you have here the contract address. Click on that one, and then you will come to Etherscan. You can go to the contract address, what you find here in the left top, copy it, go back to MetaMask. Now we can go here to send and paste. And as you can see, I have already labeled this NFT. Also text is the exotic gentleman, blah, blah, whatever. But it makes it for me easier whenever I interact with this smart contract. That could be that you become whatever, maybe an airdrop or whatever. And it's a project that you already own. You can check if this is built on the same smart contract. You can do the same thing if you maybe are in DeFi. So that means that you claim once a week your staking rewards or whatever. These are also smart contracts and they can be labeled. So that means if you have, I don't know, on whatever DeFi platform, you can label this smart contract with claim staking rewards, I don't know, DeFi chain, whatever. And then whenever you go to this website and try to claim your rewards, your MetaMask will tell you that you interact with this claim rewards, blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to check every time the address. You can see, okay, I will interact with the correct smart contract. And why is this so important? First of all, it makes things easier. And a friend of mine had the problem. He wants to send his own NFTs to another account, okay? And his computer was infected by a hacker. There was a virus on it. And so he is going and copy paste the address where he like to send the NFTs, okay? He copied the address and paste the address in the send field, but the pasted address wasn't the same he copied it, okay? So there was automatically, he could copy whatever he like. If he pastes the address in the address section, it was always the hacker's account. And the thing is, if he had named or gave it a name tag, he would see immediately that, hey, I want to send the funds to my other wallet, but there is no name tag. So that means something is wrong with this address, okay? So if you have the possibility, and please use this name tags, because it's also a step toward more security, because you don't have to look at the long address. It writes the address or the smart contract or your address on an exchange. It writes here in plain letters and you can read it. And if here is text, you know you interact with the given smart contract. The same with your addresses on exchanges where you send your ether or whatever it is. Make a name tag and then you will see, oh, okay, it's the account on my Coinbase or Bitpanda, Kraken, wherever it is. So please use this stuff. It makes things much easier. So then we go ahead and you have the possibility to whitelist addresses on your exchange accounts. Okay, I'm here on my account on Coinbase, and what's the background of this? If Coinbase will be attacked by hackers and they try to drain the customer accounts, okay? Usually they go and send all the funds to a wallet that is controlled by the hackers. Coinbase gives you the possibility to block address, or on the other side, to say to which address your funds can be sent. So these are kind of whitelist addresses. So that means if Coinbase or your account on Coinbase will be hacked, they can send the funds only to the addresses that you have whitelisted. So that means in the worst case, you have some US dollar, in my example, you have some US dollar coins, ethers, or bitcoins. The hackers can send these funds from my Coinbase account only to these wallet addresses. Okay, so in the worst case, your account is dry, there are no funds, but you will find your at least stolen funds in your own wallet. Okay, so that gives you an extra level of security in the case that the exchange will be hacked. I know Coinbase offers this opportunity, and I think it's also on Binance, as Kev said. I don't know, I don't use Binance. Okay, I had a look at Bitpanda. I don't found it there, but maybe they will implement it, or maybe I'm just too stupid to find it. I don't know, whatever. But on Coinbase, it works, and it's another step to security. Okay. So if you have the possibility to do that, please use this offer, this service. It makes sense, at least. So then let's have a short look to an account on Etherscan. Okay, that maybe sounds, why do I need an account on Etherscan? There is a free version of this. As you can see, I have here an account. You can do this for free. And the point is, you have on Etherscan also the possibility to tag names to different accounts. Okay, as you can see here, I have here, this is, for instance, my Bitpanda Ethereum address, and you can label it. So the question is, why should I use this? First of all, it makes things much easier if you are in the bad situation that your bank, for instance, I had this problem, want to see where the money is coming from. So in the worst case, you have to show them, I bought Ethereum. I don't know. I bought one Ethereum in the year 2020, and I've Ethereum gained and at value. I sold the Ethereum. Blah blah blah. So this anti-money laundering stuff, and if you label your addresses on Etherscan, it makes it much easier for you to follow these transactions. As you can see here, 0 volt, that's my NFT vault. And you can see I sent whatever 1.4 ETH from my 0 volt to my Ether address on Bitpanda. Okay, so also this make things a little bit easier, and you can also use it in a kind of security, because if you you can check shortly addresses on Etherscan. You only you can copy paste the address in here and check what is behind this address. That works also for smart contract addresses, so you can check if you interact with the smart contract you would like to interact. As I said, you have this possibility on Etherscan. The same works on Polygon Scan, and these accounts are for free, and you have, I think it's about up to as you can see, out of 1,000 addresses, you can add and name them with a name tag. So this is also quite nice to have an overview, and for security reason, because you can enter the smart contract, and if you have labeled it, you will see that you interact with the smart contract you like to interact. So these are some basics. I hope they were helpful with labeling, stuff like that. And we now go over to the problems we face often on social media, for instance, like scams on Discord or on Twitter. And I like to show you, if you don't know that already, how to step or gain a little more safety. We are here on my Discord. I hope you can see this. And meanwhile, on the most Discord servers, they will tell you switch off your DMs, your direct messages. Okay, and please do that. I like to show you how that works. It's at least quite simple. You go to your account, then you go to privacy and security. It's in English, I think. And then first of all, die Welt ist böse, or the world is violent, whatever, okay? That's the first dot you hit, and then switch off the direct messages from server members. Switch it off. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so I switch over here. Now it's here. Can you see it now? Okay, great. Okay. So then I shortly start over. Here in the left lower corner, you will find this button. This is Privatsphäre, Sicherheit or Privacy and Security. Click on it. Die Welt ist böse. The world is evil. First click. Second click, switch off the direct messages from other server members. If someone really wants to interact with you via DMs, okay, he will tag you in the normal chat. And he will ask you, may I send you DMs, something like this. And if you like to interact with another server member, do the same. Okay? Tag him in the chat, ask him for a friend's request, and then talk to him. Okay? That's at least the safest thing you can do. I was scammed also some years ago by private messages on Discord. I clicked the link and that was it. Okay, I was scammed. I lost not much. It's not the point. But it can be much. And that's not the idea of the whole thing. So be stay safe. Switch this direct messages off. Okay. The same goes if you have some friends requests that you will find in the upper left corner. Ignore them. Okay. They will appear in German as ausstehend. And there are the friends requests. Ignore them all. Except they ask you over the official chat. On the other hand, no, you don't like to do that. Okay. So now we go back. Wait a minute. So I have to change the screen. stuff like that, okay? And it's not necessary to fall in such a pitfall. Be egoistic and keep yourself safe. So that's a short overview over the pitfalls on the social media. And now I would like to show you how you can take an overview over smart contracts if they are dangerous or not. Okay, and this goes especially to NFTs. And we go here back to my OpenSea account. And what you see here, if it's loading up, these are my hidden NFTs. So many of you will face the problem that they have. There are some NFTs that popping up in your wallet, and you have no idea what this is. Okay? This could be only for commercial purpose. It can also be a scam. And as you can see here, my wallet is full of stuff like that. And now it's the question, are these NFTs dangerous or are they not dangerous? Okay, so usually it's enough if you put them in your hidden wallet. I can show you how this works. So that's my normal wallet at least. And now you can go. I have to switch this one off. Here he is. So it only takes hours. So okay. So if you have these three dots. Below the given NFT, you will find here in German it's ausblenden. In English it's hidden or hide. Okay. So you have the possibility. If you have some scam NFTs in your wallet, you can click here this three. Go on hidden. Go on hidden. Then you have to sign a message. That you really want to do that. A classic FX to show. So now, so you see the blue frame over here, and you can now all the NFTs you like to hide in the other wallet. So you don't see them anymore. So all this blue frame out here will be hidden. If I push the button at least, and then you will find them, here in your hidden section. The only thing is if you have some such NFTs, usually they are annoying. Nothing more. They are annoying. With this hidden wallet, you can move them away from your normal wallet, and they don't pop up every time, and you can see them every time, and usually you don't interact with them because you can see them. But now let's have a look. But now let's have a look one of these hidden NFTs. And the point is, to find out if these NFTs are malicious. Okay, you go again down to details over here. Down to details over here. Click the address. And as you can see, we are now on Polygon Scan. Copy this address, and then go to Go Plus. I think Christoph or Kevin will give you the link in the chat. Okay. So then you are on this side. So then you are on this Security. Go Plus Security, and there you can go to NFT Security API. Go on View. Then you can choose the network. In this case, it's Polygon. And then paste this address in here. And then security detect. And then this API reads the smart contract and shows you the risks that in it. As far as I know, Chris and Kev will go a little bit deeper afterwards. But for a first check, if this smart contract is malicious, Go Plus Labs is a good way to go. And as you can see, unverified, that means this smart contract isn't verified by Polygon. Okay. Then you can see there is a name duplicated NFT found. So maybe not the best idea. Then on this side you can see contract source code verified. So that's at least there are no other suspected malicious behavior found. So there should not be a danger if you interact with this one. You don't have to, because it's hidden, so you don't care. But with this function, you have the possibility to check smart contract easily and quick. And you can use that. For instance, if you have a free mint. Okay, you can go. Take the address of this NFT, of this free mint, take the smart contract address, and check it over NFT security detection. If this smart contract is malicious, this API will show you that. And if there is 1, 2, or 3 points in this risky item, don't mint. Because this could be a wallet drainer. That means that as soon as you try to mint this NFT, it will drain your wallet and your funds are gone. That brings us back to the burner wallet. Okay, so with this website, with this API, you can easily make a short check of smart contracts if they are malicious or if there is no problem, at least. Okay, so and that's really a go-to place if you're not sure if this one is a malicious one or not. That gives you a short overview and will help you to level up your security. At least a little. So, and then I will come to the last part. And as I said in the beginning, with the seed phrase, write it down on a piece of paper and whatever. If you use a wallet, or if you have a wallet with valuables in it. As I said, maybe some valuable NFTs or your Bitcoin wallet or at least your hardware wallet. Please use, I hope you can see this. Can you see this? This is a steel wallet or a steel plate where you can write down the seed phrase. Okay, and it's stainless steel. That means it's no problem if it's wet. If your house burned down, we don't hope that will ever happen. And this steel plate you can store wherever you like. You can dig a hole in your garden and put it in it. It will be no problem. It's a safe place to store your seed phrases, especially if you have quite a bit of money in your MetaMask wallet or in your Trezor or in your Ledger, in your hardware wallet. Please consider to use such a steel wallet to write down the seed phrase, because as you know, if you write down the seed phrase on a piece of paper, maybe you can start playing with that piece of paper and maybe your seed phrase is gone, or maybe you, I don't know, throw some coffee over this piece of paper, seed phrase maybe is gone. With a steel plate or other possibilities to store your seed phrase, it's another layer of security. You can store this at least copy of your seed phrase maybe in the house of your parents, or as I said, maybe you dig a hole in the garden or whatever, and you have a second copy, a safe copy, that you can enter at any time your wallets if your paper wallet at least is burned or wet or whatever, or your cat plays with it. So that's maybe not the baddest idea, to have a safe copy of your seed phrase. Me personally, I have such steel plates for the seed phrases from my hardware wallets, because there I store the valuable things and I like to keep it safe at least. So that was it from my side. I hope I was able to give you some extra input or infos where and how you can level up your personal security from your wallets, from your NFTs, from your crypto coins. If you have any questions, please feel free, put them in the chat and I will try to answer them.
Yeah, also big thanks. My server here in Echo.
I
maybe just, yeah. Daniel, maybe just mute you. Oh, it's resolved. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, now it's
perfect. Thanks.
Desktop is gone. Okay, great.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Also big thanks also from my side, Daniel, for the huge support on that course. I think it was really helpful. And yeah, basically we already got a few questions here. One of the later ones is, where do I get such a metal plate?
At least on you can buy it on the websites of for instance, Ledger. Also, if you like to use a Ledger hardware wallet, or you can buy them on the Trezor website directly. And there are many possibilities, for instance, on Amazon. Just type in the search bar Bitcoin steel plate or whatever, and then you will find different offers for this one. Mine, it is from Amazon. It looks like this, and there is a battery-driven. I can show you that. That's a really cheap engraving tool, but it's enough to write down the seed phrase words on this stainless steel plate. And it was about, I'm not quite sure, but it was about 60 or 70 euros, something like this. And you can, if you need more of these plates, you can buy also some extra plates. I think in the set it was one plate and this engraving tool. But there are many other different possibilities. For me, it was the easiest one. And if I have a new wallet, a new hardware wallet, or whatever, I only have to order some extra plates and can use that engraving tool, and I'm fine with this.
Awesome. I think, yeah.
Yeah, sorry to jump in here, but just another layer of security, because those in the space who've been here for a bit longer might have experienced a Ledger data security breach. And so the actual information from the marketing area was leaked. So your personal address, etc., got leaked to the darknet, etc. So, Daniel, what could be another security layer you could recommend to implement here? Say, let the plates be shipped to a different address, like your work address, not your personal address, for example.
Which address? You mean email address or
address where you live?
Okay. So I have at least the problem. I'm a company. So that means on my website, I have to put the impressum in it, and there is the address. But I don't give the house number. Okay, so it's the street and no house number. And that's at least a problem with everything you do on the internet. And if you have data breaches like Ledger had, yeah, it's quite difficult. The only thing that I do, I have no valuable things at my home. That's the only thing I can do.
Well, you are pretty valuable.
Oh, thank you. So I don't know how high the prices will be on the slavery markets, but we will see. But that's the problem. You can do what I also use, but that's my in my IT. Usually, I use a VPN. So that I'm usually somewhere in Norway from my IP address. These are the things I use, and I use also some ads. Not ads. It's a browser extension that gave me an alert if I like to reach a suspicious website. Okay, but these are stuff that's more IT security, and it's not usually it costs you some euros or dollars in the year if you like to use these tools. Yeah, but I think that's more on the side of the IT security as a whole, not specific on Web3 or NFTs.
I think one can always be safer by understanding a couple of principles, right? Never, never, never give a private key to anyone, even if the real official ledger calls you, even if the government calls you. There's usually really zero reason why you should do that. Zero. And legitimate companies tell you that all the way on the ledger company as well. They have it like in red, I think, everywhere. Never, never give this to anyone. Okay. Yeah, cool. Thanks again, Daniel. Really, really exciting part. Um, the next section would be actually diving deeper into smart contracts themselves, like concrete examples, how people try to scam other people, what red flags you can watch out for, and yeah, to just be safer when actually buying NFTs, buying tokens, or just interacting with whatever protocols you're interested in. The question now is, do we want to do a break of 15 minutes, for example, or shall we continue right away? Feel free to drop it into the comments. Okay. Well, 1-1. Then I would say let's just make 10 minutes break, then everyone can do the most important stuff. Let's meet back at 15 minutes past 11. Does that sound good? 11:15. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, now I would say if there are no questions on that already, I would say let's dive into some of these things that we see on a regular basis in the space and what you can actually watch out for to secure yourself. Katarina made a really interesting suggestion in the beginning that we could also use ChatGPT to analyze smart contracts, which you in fact paste the software code in there and get some, let's say, recommendations or concerns from ChatGPT. And sometimes they're not bad. We can try that at some point today as well. But the issue here is ChatGPT runs with, old data and is also not really good to actually spot actual security risk. It's really well to list the concerns that we will talk about today, but it's bad at actually discovering a real world security issue. For a very simple reason, scammers are doing this for a living. We should never forget that. I had a podcast a year ago with former US Most Wanted, Brett Johnson, and what he said is, you will never be smarter than a scammer. Because what does a scammer do? He does nothing else 24/7 than trying to exploit and scam people, usually. And you are not trying to protect yourself 24/7. And there's at some point, if they really try to target you, you usually have bad cards. We just can make it unattractive enough to not be the target to them. So let's dive into it. I will share my screen. Please let me know if you can see it. So you should see my empty browser image. The first thing that you should always watch out for, or let me show you again to just get everyone on the same page, how a smart contract can look like. Let's just get one of the most famous tokens out there, just so that you can see what a smart contract again looks like. How we get there is now not important, just to show you that's just software code. We don't need to understand that right now. What is described here, other is written here, that's not of relevance for us right now. But what's important is that you, on one hand, can read that at all, right? These are the rules that everyone has to obey to. The one that created the smart contract, that's the powerful thing, and all users that interact with it. So the first thing that we should always look out for, and I have a really interesting example here, that's a YouTube video of a real scam. So be careful. That's a real scam. That's no fake. That's a real existing ongoing scam. Okay? That's a YouTube video with someone who suggests a smart contract that you can deploy that will automatically trade on so-called decentralized exchanges, which means you will put some ETH, or some cryptocurrency, on that smart contract that you deploy, and that thing will then trade for you and hopefully make you some money. So the thing that the scammer does here is he has a good YouTube account, like almost 2K subscribers. He has 29K views on that video. That's, usually when you think about scams, it's pretty obvious, right? That doesn't look so obvious that this is a scam, especially when you look at the comments. Does this trick still work? 1 day ago. Thank you for this tutorial. Very impressive and reliable bot. Is this possible on mobile? I'm not a programmer, so it wasn't easy for me, but I managed. Very decent profits. And so on, and so on, and so on. So really a lot of social proof here. And anyone who actually doesn't understand smart contract thinks, hey, that looks legit, right? Even if you understand decentralized exchanges to a good extent, you would also think of these bots actually exist, right? So there's no reason why someone actually couldn't make a YouTube video about it and share the code with you, because, attention is the new currency. So really a well elaborated scam. So how does it work? When we look at this in the video description, he says download MetaMask. Most people have that. That actually would do something like this, let's put it that way. Then he says, let's go to that website where you can actually save this code, this smart contract, onto the blockchain. So you actually create that bot under quote marks yourself. You save it onto the blockchain. So it's not a smart contract that the scammer deployed, but instead you deploy it yourself, which means you would have control over the rules. That gives you also a false sense of confidence because the scammer has actually no control over it. And then he provides the code here. And the code looks at first sight somewhat legit as well. We see Uniswap here, which is a decentralized exchange where you can trade things. And we don't need to understand the code of the scammer right now. But the main issue that I want to highlight here is if it's too good to be true, it usually is. That's the first principle. You don't need to be technical to understand that, to know that. And the second thing is, if you actually don't, also if you would be somewhat technical and if you have a hard time understanding the code because it looks complicated, then it's highly likely a scam. Because every code that's overly complicated, just like this, look at this. A lot of numbers here, like 70, 57, B1, absolutely non-descriptive. Yeah, it even for a non-technical person, uh, a lot of really, really unreasonable stuff. I know nobody here actually is a programmer, but if we look at Shiba Inu, for example, we don't have these confusing terms, right? We don't have B1, we don't have like +2, -7, and these kind of things. It's a really usually easy smart contract. Okay, it's really easy code and something that even a non-technical person may see to some extent. If you look here further, a lot of really, really crazy stuff going on here. Again, a lot of confusing numbers, 661728 and whatsoever everywhere. And that's just to distract you, to make you think that code is valid, is legitimate, because you don't understand it, right? When you try or need to understand something, even as a non-technical person, and you see a lot of really confusing stuff and a lot of code, it's usually a scam. Because when you code a legitimate smart contract, it's usually really short, well documented, and easy to explain. So that's the main thing that I want to highlight here. And what would that smart contract do? Actually, nothing. When you use this smart contract and send money to it, and you click on start trading, everything the smart contract does is he uses these numbers that are in the smart contract, 20, 75, and so on, and calculates the wallet address of the scammer. Which means if you start the trading, it actually just sends the money to the scammer. That's it. That's all the smart contract does. All this code is just there to do a simple send, just to send your ETH to another wallet. That's what the code does, nothing else. It's just to confuse you that a lot of things are happening here. That's the first thing that may be a red flag for you. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. And especially when you ask someone that can program, he doesn't need to be able to program smart contracts, and he or she has a hard time understanding the code at all, because programming languages are somewhat similar always. Then it usually is a scam. Things that are easy to understand are more likely to be legitimate. That's the first thing that I want to highlight here. Obfuscated, hard to understand, excessively complex code is really, really dangerous, let's put it that way. Even if it would be legitimate, it usually is of high security risk, because complex code introduces a lot of security risk. That's the first thing. That's a real scam. So please don't open this YouTube link and so on. That might be hard to spot, you might think now. There are easier things that are more obvious for a non-technical person. If you look at Shiba Inu here, which is just a regular cryptocurrency, it's a meme token that you might be familiar with. Just like, yeah, not Dogecoin, not Dogecoin, because Dogecoin has their own infrastructure and blockchain. But in this case, you actually see the code, right? We can actually read that. It's transparent to us. Now, scammers obviously don't want you to see the code, right? They just want your money. They want to make it, again, as intransparent and complicated as possible. Everywhere where there's an information gap, where someone knows more than you are at risk, always. The closer or smaller this gap is, the safer you are. Which means if you don't see that code, and I have an example for that too. But this example that I have here is not a scam, probably. But it's just an example where you don't see the code. You see a lot of really, confusing numbers. You just see from 0 to F with letters, all sorts of, let's say, binary code, byte code, which is nothing else than the same that you see here. That code that is transparent here actually resolves into something like this. So if you go on Etherscan and, for example, if we go to OpenSea, just show that to you. NFTs, for example, are smart contracts themselves, right? If I go just to the first thing here, click on some random NFT, and as Daniel showed us before, we can see the contract address in the details section down there. If I click on that, I get to Etherscan. And as we all might know, NFTs, tokens, and all these things are actually smart contracts. Just code on a blockchain. Sounds complicated, it actually isn't that complicated. If we go to that contract button here, you already see that green, let's say, what is it called? Check mark, right? Which means nothing else than you can actually read the code here. We are able to read the rules that someone has written down here. That's the first major red flag if that's not the case. If it looks like this, you probably shouldn't interact with the NFT token or smart contract in general, because there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to see the code. Zero. No reason. Just like with sharing your sharing your private key. So if you are on that contract section and you don't see that green check mark, probably try to avoid interacting with that code because you don't know what it is going to do. And that's a dangerous thing by itself. That's the second thing that you should always watch out for. Don't interact with code, smart contracts that not even a software developer or smart contract developer can read. You don't need to be able to understand the code. You just should be aware that you can check if other developers can read it at all. If they can't, they can't raise any concerns of the code as well. So that's the first huge major red flag. Another thing is that I think we all experience these kind of things. Let me put that into, I can't, okay. That, for example, is a hype token, right? Which means all these ENO tokens and all that pump and dump stuff that we saw the last years and still see it, as you can see here. It looks fancy, it looks cute oftentimes. It always builds onto some kind of narrative, right? Elon Musk posts about, I don't know, Doge. At the same moment, minutes later, hundreds of Dogecoins, also tokens, are being created on Ethereum, on Binance Smart Chain, wherever, different blockchains, trying to scam people. And not sure if that's a scam, but usually these kind of things are, because they try to create some kind of narrative with zero utility, zero use case. And we look at this one, for example, this token, for my understanding, without looking into it further, you buy tokens, then you send it to their smart contract so that you usually can sell them, which is great for them because they can sell then their own tokens and earn money on your back. And with those tokens, you can simply vote on trending polls like this one. I love, I hate, I don't know, this stock for whatever reason, because as we can see, there are different ones. And then you, as always, earn free crypto. Where does it come from, right? I can tell you these projects usually just speculate with your money that you put in there, just like banks do as well. You have to be fair here. But there's no regulation at that point, and they usually just want to extract value themselves. Most likely, they're not even, let's say, doxed, which means they're anonymous. We don't know who created that token. Yeah, as we can see, Kim Jong-un, Donald J. Pump. It's, an anonymous team. Andrew Abe, yeah. Um, basically, huge red flag if you, for example, don't know, obviously, who is the team. And if it's too good to be true, earn free crypto. You have the upside of the token pumping, awesome, and you earn more tokens or crypto in general by just clicking onto a button. It's too good to be true. Someone has to pay for that, and usually it's people buying that token. But that's another thing to watch out for. All these pump and dump schemes. Sometimes you definitely can make short-term profits on that if you're fast enough and knowledgeable enough, but usually you don't. 99% of the time, the only people making money out of that are the people that created that token in the first place. And there, as we already know, it's a smart contract. I don't know. I didn't look if what kind of rules they have written into their token contract. It could be that you can't sell the token anymore, some kind of honeypot, as people would describe it. You buy into it, but you can't sell. People do that all the time. So, no, although always check if people can actually read the smart contract, if that code is visible with that green check mark. Then check, is that actually something that I want to do? I want to buy into. Is that, if we talk about NFT or token projects, is that something legitimate? Could it be? If the team is anonymous, it most likely isn't, because there are almost zero reasons, again, to be anonymous. And the quote mark, I don't want to be discriminated because I'm whoever, that's why I'm anonymous, is a BS argument. Sorry, there's no reason why, if you're a white male, for example, to put it the other way around, then let's put it that way, why should you be, if that's something you could be discriminated for and people wouldn't buy into your project because of that, well, that's a really, really weak argument for me personally. And that's usually the only argument people have to be anonymous. And as I said, data security anyway, so it's not regulated, because if you earn money in some kind of way, they have to, or they're basically breaking the law anyway, which gives you right now a lot of confidence that they won't be there in 2 years, right? So just be careful with these kind of things. But obviously, if you really know what you do, it's something different. I found another random token smart contract. That's also really interesting. When you are, again, we are opening a smart contract, we're searching that here with that unique identifier. That's just the address, the number where we can find a smart contract. Then we have again here this tab contract with a hopefully green check mark. And if we have that green check mark, we see here 3 other tabs. The code itself, where developers can read through the code. And then we have read and write contract. And you don't need to be a developer or a technical person to read these things, because here are a lot of red flags that you can watch out for. For example, if you read something like, in this example, we don't have it. Oh, we have it. Oh, crazy. Random. If we have something like is blacklisted or get sniper amount and things like that, this blacklisted is usually communicated by the project owners as if there are some bots, programs buying into your token to actually extract a lot of value out of it. For example, if someone launches a token, not sure if someone here already participated in a launch, token or NFT launch, doesn't matter, then there are usually bots that try to buy these tokens or NFTs at the cheapest price and then sell it at the cost of other people, because software is always faster than a human being. And that's what these blacklisted functions are for in theory. And they usually are, because even the project owners don't want bots in there, because they would lose money as well. Fair enough. But if you think it through, they can blacklist everyone. They can blacklist you as well. They usually have, in that case, an easy way to blacklist everyone, to make it to a honeypot so that you can't sell any tokens anymore. If you are one of the largest holders, let's say you own, also you put in there 5K, a lot of money for everyone here, probably. It could be, depending on the price, a significant chunk of the total supply, of the total tokens that exist on that smart contract. And they probably have a really high incentive that you don't sell those. So by just blacklisting you selectively, they secure that the price stays higher of that token and they can sell on you. Maybe you're able to sell later again and they blame some kind of other things why you weren't able to sell within a specific hour. But in that particular time frame, the token price maybe already tanked and you lost a lot of money. That's one reason how a lot of meme tokens and projects scam people. But as said, can also be used somewhat for legitimate reasons. Another major things, that's something that's more related to so-called deflationary tokens, are these taxes that we saw in the last couple of years, especially when it comes to tokens, which is, as said, just a random invented cryptocurrency that you can invest your money in, that you usually can use for something, hopefully. And some of these tokens have a so-called tax, which means if you buy, sell, or sometimes, like in this case, even transfer your tokens to another wallet, then you pay tax. You pay the project owners, and they even communicate that in a transparent way. There are even a lot of narratives around that. And if we look at the transfer, for example, okay, it's 000 in this case, which means they are just able to set a transfer tax so that you can't even send it to your hardware wallet if you would like to, without paying 10%, for example. Style tax is probably the highest. Okay, 10%. Yeah, this 900 and 100 means it's 10% tax. And that's just how the smart contract is programmed. And basically, in this case, 1% goes to token holders. That's the reflection fee. That SafeMoon, for example, also has. That's a token that some of you might have heard of, which created a lot of these scams and hype coins and whatsoever. And a marketing fee of 9%. And that 9% goes to the project owners directly. It just is being sent to a wallet of their choice. And they usually have a liquidity fee, which should actually just decrease how volatile the token is in terms of price fluctuations. They have it at 0 to keep the hype around, so that people with just putting in $500 cause a 5% price increase, for example, which is great for marketing purposes if you're a hype coin. Yeah, a lot of buy taxes as well. Same thing here, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a scam, right? The issue here is if you see something like that, just think about it. They can change these fees. They can change that. And if they can change it and they don't have a limitation in the smart contract, this contract hasn't, for example, they can change this fee to 100%, which means you can't sell anymore. You can't get your money out anymore. Even if in theory they would be worth a lot of money, you don't get a single cent out of it. It's gone. And they can easily change that at any given time. And that's the issue. Please, Katerina, feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Could you look at this in another way also, that if the limit is set of how much they can increase it, that a marketing fee is actually, in a way, attractive even for a hype coin, because more people will get attracted to it? Do you know what I mean? Like the function of the project owners automatically receiving a fee of you interacting with the project. If this fee is not excessive and can't be set to 100%, couldn't that be a good thing in a project?
Sure. Many somewhat legitimate projects do that, right? SafeMoon doesn't have a marketing fee. These things happened later, I think. But these fees, yeah, sure, definitely have positive aspects as well. The liquidity fee, for example, and the reflection fee are actually cool features. Every time when people trade, you're a holder, you get a few tokens. Sounds awesome, right? There was a strong narrative around that, a lot of hype around these kind of tokens. The same for liquidity. The more people invest, the less volatile the token gets, the higher the minimum value of the token gets. And yeah, obviously marketing fee to push the project forward can be interesting too. The issue just is, as always, these are creative ways and things where project owners can exit scam or take away your money or prevent you from selling your tokens, especially when they are anonymous, right? That's the first huge red flag. If they don't even bother to buy fake personalities, fake KYC, if they don't even do that, then I don't know, it's really a low-level scam usually at the current stage. So that's something to be aware of. And yeah, obviously one could read in a smart contract how far they could increase that. But for that, you obviously might need a developer, right? Because that's individualized, that's not always the same, and could be obfuscated again. Yeah, that's another thing to watch out for. But as always, people can make money out of these hype tokens and things. Just be really, really careful because there are a lot of much more ways to lose your money. Mhm. Um, the code, the rules cannot be changed, right? The code that we see here, usually there are exceptions to that as well. We will discuss that later. That code cannot be changed. That's true. But they can add the code that they are able to change things. It's just software code. They can have the rights to change parameters. They definitely could uh, remove that option for themselves. But oftentimes, project owners obviously want to have more control over their own token, right? So that's another risk point to consider. Elevated privileges. That would be my next point anyway. They can add these functions that we see here on the right section, where they can, you know, let me check. They can set taxes transfer. That's only a function the owners of the smart contract can call. And that's the issue. These functions, they have transparently coded that into the smart contract. They are able to change this. They could simply write here 7% whatsoever, yeah, and then just save it. The code is immutable, cannot be changed, but yet they can change parameters if they coded that into that code. And that's the thing. That's the issue. There are also, a lot of other things that they can set. Most often these things are for bot protection. But yeah, remove blacklisted. They definitely have a add blacklisted probably as well somewhere. If not, set blacklist enabled. Yeah. Set contract swap enabled. That, also, I didn't look into the code, for example, but if you see something like this can mean that they can just disable trading, that you don't can do anything with the token anymore at any point. These are things you don't need to be a developer for that. If something you see here is confusing, just needs to be confusing, be careful. Right? Because if you ever bought a token, what an approve function is, right? You need to approve tokens to do something with it. You can read, English, you see enable trading, okay? doesn't sound bad, at least from the naming. Doesn't mean that the code is actually not bad. Remove limits, okay, it doesn't sound so bad either, but implies there are some kind of limits. Remove sniper, means, well, they have probably some kind of blacklisting. They can blacklist people so that they can't sell the tokens anymore. And all these kind of things. Set contract swap enabled, that's a red flag. That's definitely a red flag, for example. These kind of things, you don't need to be a developer to see that. Doesn't mean these things are scams. It just means they have the opportunity to scam you in a very, very easy way. And that's just something you might want to watch out for. Then another thing that's probably really interesting. It's usually very unlikely that people try to scam you in that way. So that's not a scam contract, highly likely. Just an example to show you how that would look like. There are actually ways to change the code. And that sounds like a problem by itself, right? There are ways where you can change the code itself. It can be a legitimate software code from the very beginning, can be a legitimate NFT project, token contract, everything normal, but they can actually change these rules, this code. And that's a big issue. And that's really unlikely that projects do this, but it happens. And people scam that way and did it. But if you see something like that, or an NFT or token project, you 100% know. Really, it's really no serious project owner does that. And they don't even do that because people would scream in the community, because most people know that this can be changed and it's easy to spot. If you go to that contract tab again and the code is readable, and you read something like upgradable or initializable or proxy, these are the three keywords. Just needs to be one of those. Yeah, you don't need to be a developer for that. Just the word upgradable, initializable, or proxy. If you read that in a smart contract that you don't want to be upgraded or updated at some point, because maybe it's a token contract, maybe it's an NFT project, you don't want the project owners to change the code, change the rules, because you put money in there usually. And if they change these rules, well, not so good for you. Or could be really bad for you. Doesn't need to be. It's just, again, really easy way to scam you. And it's fairly easy to spot, right? If you just need to search for the word somewhere in the code. Doesn't need to be on top of here. If you just search for that, that's fair enough, right? So that's upgradable is probably the most easiest way to spot it. If you find the word upgradable in the smart contract, and you will see it will be more likely used in a lot of places here, upgradable. We see it a lot of times in the smart contract. Then be careful, because the code can be changed. That's another thing.
Kevin, from a practical point of view, because you said that most contracts wouldn't actually do that because there would be a big upheaval in the community. So where might you come across something like this where actually no community exists yet? Or, where should you look out for this?
Well, project owners can find somewhat legitimate reasons for this, right? Legitimate projects use this as well to upgrade bridges, for example. When you send tokens, NFTs from one from one blockchain to another, then you need some kind of bridge, right, to do that, because blockchains don't easily talk with each other. And as we probably all know, bridges are hacked all the time. And for that simple reason, these bridges, these smart contracts, then usually are upgradable. So if there's a bug, they can fix it. They can change the code. That's legitimate, right? It's not good for us because we have to trust them, but there are obviously many things where you don't want that to be possible, right? NFTs, tokens, and I've seen NFTs and tokens doing that. And maybe there's a reason why they say at least it needs to be upgradable. It's just something that's really easy to spot, right? And if there's no obvious reason for you why they should be able to do that, then just be careful. Just another easy way to watch out for. Yeah, another thing, what I mentioned before, if it's too good to be true, again, don't use the smart contract. That's, I would say, a common truth across everything that's too easy, promises you any easy free profits, anything like that. 99.99% a scam, because no one in the world wants you to be rich. No one. Everyone just wants to be rich themselves. Keep that in mind. Now, a few less technical things. Let's get away from this confusing software code. I hope you got a little bit of input in that regard. But maybe let's get a little bit more practical for you as well. Usually, when projects are launching, there's a lot of education or documentation needed, right? They need to explain things. They have a white paper, right? They explain how the token or the project, the protocol, or whatever works, what it does. What rules are maybe set, if you do that, that happens, and these kind of things. If these kind of things are missing, if they don't try to remove intransparency, again, intransparency, where there's an information gap, that's the largest security risk of all. If they try to make that gap smaller, documentation, by white paper, by communicating a lot on Discord, wherever. Hey guys, just happy is the case. If they answer your questions in a legitimate way, code, these kind of things are green flags. If they don't, if they block you or kick you from the community, you know what's up, right? So try to ask critical questions on communities. If they don't have any documentation on how things work and why things are the way they are, it's probably a red flag as well. Be careful, stay away from that. Everything that's intransparent is usually a bad thing to use. In terms of documentation, something that you might have heard of already are so-called security audits. Security audits are nothing else than PDF reports, just documents, for example, where reputable, also hopefully reputable, big companies that don't have anything to do with the token project, NFT protocol, whatsoever, again, evaluate the smart contract. They look into it and transparently, again, transparency is good, and independently, they are not biased, give feedback on those smart contract code. Hacking, consensus diligence, CertiK, chain salting, solid proof, QuantStamp, Open Zeppelin, these kind of companies, for example, if you see that these kind of audits, yeah, on a smart contract, big green flag. Doesn't mean it's safe, right? But it means that at least another company is looking at it and they probably paid a lot of money for it because these kind of audits are really expensive, 10, 20, 30K, depending on the complexity and company. And yeah, if it's not from a reputable company, like some company that probably you don't find on Google if you search for it, it's probably just a audit to give you a false sense of security. That's another thing. If the company that does this report does look at the smart contract isn't reputable, isn't really known, then probably it's just to give you or to wrap you into, let's say, yeah, to make you think everything is safe. Okay, so be careful and ask critical questions. Ask for security audits in communities. If they say they don't have one, or they asked a small company or whoever, be careful. If they tell you, well, the 30K audit or whoever is in progress, that's good already, but doesn't mean it's not a scam. Just means they paid that amount of money and that firm will create a report, and then this token project still needs to publish that report. That report, um, you know, it's oftentimes not right away public because if there's a security issue, they should have time to fix it, right? That's why Certica and so on usually don't publish it by themselves, or maybe just after a certain period of time and whatsoever. So just be critical on that regard and yeah, ask things. If you don't get a transparent and satisfying answer, it's probably a scam. Okay. I talk a lot. Are there any questions maybe in the meantime before I just go these things down here? Okay. Let me show that, for example. If you, for example, if you go to a platform like OpenSea or any kind of other D app, just like D app is just a website that talks with the blockchain. And you connect your wallet, for example, MetaMask. Okay, I don't have a wallet on that one. One sec. If you connect your wallet, then depending on if I already use that wallet there, they might ask me, yeah, what's this? Most platforms will ask you for a signature, for example. As you can see here, welcome to OpenSea. Basically, you are a first-time user of this platform. Please sign like a real signature with your wallet if you're fine with the terms of service and privacy policy. Obviously, OpenSea is a reputable and trustworthy platform. And if we look in here, we see a message like this. Welcome to OpenSea. It's transparent, you know, your authentication status will reset after 24 hours. So basically you see what is happening. You can read that as a non-technical person, right? That's important. If you can't read that, because when you click sign here, you give them a certain, I would say, permission, or it could be that you give them a certain permission that they can exploit. In this case, you usually don't. You just sign a random number or string. In this case, you just sign that you own this wallet. That's all you do here. You own this wallet. You're the actual legitimate owner of this. And there are examples. I will show you how it might look like if it's not legitimate. it can look like this, for example. You see a message with a lot of numbers and letters in there again. And maybe MetaMask even puts up a warning, hey, signing this message can have dangerous side effects. Or something like this on the side. You just sign a nonce. That looks legitimate, right? It's basically the same as an OpenSea. But the less you understand, the less transparent something is, the more careful you should be. Because what could happen here? You could give them the permission to spend tokens for you. They could use something out of your wallet. Maybe they can send transactions in your name. These kind of things are possible. So just because you don't actually send a transaction onto the blockchain doesn't mean it's safe. That's one thing to keep in mind here. Okay. Then I think, yeah, that there's a really interesting thing that adds to that. For example, if you trade, is it org? I think it's org, yeah. For example, Uniswap, as you might know, is a decentralized exchange, right? You can buy, sell tokens on there. In the meantime, even with, meanwhile, even NFTs, as it seems. I think I heard that before. But basically, when you click here on swap and you use some kind of token, for example, which token might be built that way? Let's use ApeCoin. Obviously don't have a token here, but let's check if I get that button shown. Probably not, but let's try. Yeah, perfect. Uniswap, or most even legitimate, okay, the button is gone. Most legitimate platform will then ask you to approve the tokens. That's the approve function that we have seen before on the white section here. That exists also on NFTs, like this one. That's nothing else than you give the permission, the explicit permission to another smart contract or even to a user to spend your tokens. And you always provide either the token ID in terms of NFTs or the amount of tokens that they're able to spend for you. And most often, the amount of tokens that they're able to spend for you is the highest number possible. Doesn't mean this is a scam. It's just a convenience thing that you just need to approve once to save gas in future. So if you approve here on Uniswap, the button is unfortunately gone, but would be here. Then you would tell Uniswap, hey, I think Uniswap probably just has, I probably might, also Uniswap, I think also does this. If you just want to sell 4 tokens, they still might approve a huge number of it, right? Like 10 million or whatever. So which means if you buy at a later stage more ape coins, in this case, they would be able to sell, transfer, whatsoever, do something with them on their smart contract. So if you don't trust them, that wouldn't be so good for you. One thing that you can do here, or always should check, there's a website called Revoke Cash, where you can actually input your, or even connect your wallet, which will tell you which, I'll put in the link here, which, where's the chat? Where's the chat? Yeah, thanks. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Basically, with this revoke cache, you can check if some platform or smart contract has the permission to use your money, to use your tokens. Doesn't mean it's scam, just means someone has the permission to do it. So for security purposes, You know, Uniswap could be hacked as well. And if they are hacked, the attacker might have access to your tokens. Even if Uniswap is legitimate, if an attacker gets access to that smart contract, maybe that smart contract is suddenly using your funds for non-legitimate reasons. So here you can check that and can even revoke access to those smart contracts, which just means you need to approve the tokens again if you use their service at the later stage. So that's always recommendable, especially for hardware wallets, because you don't expect your hardware wallet to suddenly have disappearing tokens or NFTs in there, and it wouldn't be so nice. Yeah, check that on a regular basis because this happens all the time. That's not some stuff that just happens sometimes. It happens all the time. All the time. So be careful to check that. And yeah, just two last things on my side. Then I think Chris will take. Minor note on DAOs, so-called decentralized autonomous organizations. DAOs basically are nothing else than a smart contract, code on the blockchain again, that allows people to vote on certain things, which means if you own an NFT, if you own tokens, you can vote on decisions that are proposed in that smart contract. Could be anything, right? Anything can be proposed in theory. Now, the issue here is there's a statistic that has been released in the last years that most DAOs, which are supposed to be decentralized so that people can vote in a democratic manner, are highly, not just highly, but really highly centralized, which means there's a small set of people usually controlling the DAO. So even if it's in theory democratic, usually the project owners or a set of trusted people has a lot of tokens, a lot of NFTs that they can use to push through certain decisions. Just be aware of that. Just because a project has a DAO doesn't mean it's actually decentralized. It can be marketing. Look at token distribution. Look at how the votes are distributed. Who has the power? All things lead to usually a handful of people. Okay, that basically was it on the smart contract side of things. I have another thing that I might shortly, really briefly talk about the blockchain side of things. But otherwise, the smart contract side of things on my end would be done. Are there any questions on that? Anything you want to know? Nothing. Yeah, please just unmute you. So
when somebody wants to change a smart contract, do they do like a new one and then attach the old information, or they go in like you showed into the right part and write it in there?
Great question. It depends on what they want to change, right? If they just want to change, also depending on the rules they have set, right? They have written this code originally. Depending on if they can change the things that are already written in this code, they can just call this write function, as you perfectly described already. If they can't, then they just have two options. Either they have the upgradable contract function, as we have discussed before, upgradable, proxy, these kind of terms. If you read that, then they are able to change the contract completely, which can be good and bad at the same time. And the third option, as you said, is just deploying a new smart contract, new code, and just telling everyone, that's the new one. Please switch over to that one. That's how most projects do it. Uniswap does it that way as well. I think people that are a little bit deeper in the space have heard of Uniswap v2 version 2, Uniswap version 3, these kind of things. That V2, V3 just means they created a new version that's better, hopefully, and please use the new one. That's a way to upgrade as well. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Awesome. Cool. Anything else, or shall we briefly discuss, as really briefly, discuss blockchain security, because I don't think it's highly relevant. Maybe if you want to engage with some kind of, if you want to engage with Solana, for example, or other blockchains, then it might be interesting to know what are security implications for infrastructure itself. Okay. There's a really nice graphic. I love that. And it's really a common truth. That's called blockchain trilemma. Blockchains in general can't do everything. If we look at Ethereum, for example, the second largest blockchain, then it faces scalability issues, as probably everyone here knows, right? Ethereum can be really expensive. It's not the fastest blockchain and everything like that. So Ethereum probably isn't on that end of the triangle. So what does this mean? This triangle, this trilemma, actually just describes that a blockchain can't do everything perfect. It can't be scalable, it can't be secured, and it can't be decentralized at the same time, like perfectly. Yeah? You are always somewhere on that spectrum. So in terms of Ethereum, you're probably way on the decentralization and security side of things, while with Solana, which is used to be or tends to be much more scalable, it's way on that side, which means it's way less decentralized and way less secure. Probably because a lot of things are built in a different way. I'm not here to classify different blockchains in a different manner, because I would actually need to deep dive down in every case. But that's just to give you the information that just because a blockchain seems to be faster and better doesn't mean it's actually better, because it usually comes at a cost at some other point, and that's decentralization or security. Just be aware of that. Fast blockchains, scalable blockchains are not always better. Usually they don't. And because of that, to solve this issue, so this triangle basically applies to every network. It also applies to layer 2s in some kind of way. That starts with Polygon, which is a sidechain, Solana, Cardano, all these exciting blockchains, Aptos, which is quite a newer one, these kind of things. So what really smart people then invented are so-called roll-ups that try to make it, less of a trade-off. Because as we know, layer 1 blockchains, especially, like the blockchains that are at the bottom, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, Cardano, Aptos, all these blockchains, these networks, are somewhere on that spectrum. But wouldn't it be cool to have something like Ethereum that's more decentralized and more secure, but also to be scalable? Yeah, everyone wants a perfect solution, right? For this reason, people built so-called roll-ups like Optimism, Roba, CK Sync, all these exciting these newer networks which build on top of existing blockchains, which means Ethereum is still used, for example, but on top of that, there's another network like Optimism that handles a lot of these things, a lot of transactions, and then sends it down to Ethereum. I don't want to get too technical now. All you need to know is these rollups try to solve that blockchain trilemma in some kind of way. And they do already a pretty decent job, right? They handle a ton of money. But it doesn't look like we already have, let's say, removed that blockchain trilemma at all. If we look at these roll-ups, for example, or layer 2s in general, we can see Arbitrum 1, Optimism, DYDX, a lot of different networks here. And then we see a few different metrics. We don't need to understand all of them. Just important, you see a lot of red and yellow here, that these things mean that there is still trust involved, which means they are not as secure and not as decentralized. They are more scalable than Ethereum, but again, the blockchain trilemma is still of relevance. Obviously, these projects don't advertise and don't highlight these things everywhere. They want to hide it away for obvious reasons. And yeah, you can also see here what we have heard of today, that upgradability, they're able to change smart contracts, which means if you send money on there, are you able to get it out again? If it's yes, that means they can change, in theory, the code so that you can't withdraw. So you have to trust them. And that's basically what applies to almost all of them in some kind of way. Yeah. What happens if the company dies? Yeah. Sequencer failure, if something breaks on their end, well, then a lot of things don't work again. Or there are intermediate solutions. It's great that they describe it pretty well. You can see the code that secures the system can be changed arbitrarily and without notice. Well, that sounds pretty dangerous, right? Doesn't sound so good. Or that's a crazy one. Arbitrum, for example, which means if you send transactions on those networks, optimistic rollups, that's the category for these ones, then they work on the promise that at least one person in the network is honest. That's the game theory behind that. If no one on the network is honest, is able to submit a mathematically correct proof that a transaction isn't real, then everyone can do anything. People can steal money from your wallets and all these kind of things. That's a really crazy promise, right? One honest person needs to be there. And interestingly, it works really well. Almost nothing happened. Actually, never anything happened yet. And I don't think anything will happen because probably there will always be one honest person, even if it's the project themselves, right? But it gets crazier. Optimism, for example, it's in development. That means not even that measurement exists yet. That means it's not secured at all in that terms. No one can even prove it. The good thing with Optimism is they are soon to launch that feature. It's really exciting. But until now, today, it's not there. Just to be aware, that's a really great link. Chris, maybe if you want to send that as well, layer2beat.com/scaling.risk. Really great platform. Even if you're a non-technical person, they explain it really well if you go with your mouse pointer somewhere. And also you see it with the color, but if it's red, it's probably not so good. And again, we are here on that blockchain triangle. And that's it basically on my side. Everything I had left was, okay, bridges is done by Chris. But I hope I wasn't too complicated technical. I know we went down really deep the rabbit hole now, but these things are actually quite significant for everyone here. And I hope I explained it in a way that you are able to grasp it. If there are questions, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, thank you from my side to Daniel, Kevin, and Christoph for holding this today. Especially we're addressing the female investors because it's still the majority are still men in the space, and yeah, we want to bring more people and more diversity here. So and yeah, thank you.
Also in the recording video description, we will also post it on social media again. And yeah, as said, feel free to drop any questions into our Discord community as well. Katharina, you have a Discord community too, I think. So that's definitely a safe space too. Daniel, I'm not sure if you have one. Otherwise, feel free to send that one to me as well, or if it's in the link tree anyway already. That's great.
I have no Discord.
Okay, perfect.
But
That's all right. We
you
know
will.
where you live.
Yeah.
So
Also, thanks
also
again.
from my side, thank you very much for joining in. Was a pleasure.
Awesome. Then, say,
So wish you
have a great-
bye.
Have a great
Thank you,
weekend,
Sam.
all.
Thanks,
Ciao.
everyone.